Welcome, everyone. I'm Mariquita Solis, the live stream host of all-creatures.org. All-creatures.org was founded in 1998 by Pastor Frank Hoffman and his first wife, Mary, and launched as a pioneer website in the United States for faith-based animal rights veganism. Today, led by our executive director, Tams Nicholson, we exist for all people seeking current animal rights, vegan resources, and offer decades of free animal rights and vegan content, including a huge repository of vegan sermons and Bible commentaries, animal rights strategies, free vegan authored books, recipes, upcoming events around the world, and the works of various vegan authors, poets, and artists. We also host current sites for almost 20 vegan and animal rights organizations, including Stop Crush, Unparalleled Suffering, and the Committee to Abolish Sports Hunting. We also maintain nearly 25 archival sites from animal rights vegan activism of past decades. The bottom line is that we work to unite compassionate and empathetic humans across the globe, from the past and present, who honor the dignity of each and every creature so that all beings thrive on a flourishing planet Earth. So, welcome everyone. I'm very honored to introduce you to my good friend, Reverend Dina Lauman. Dina is the creator of the WellBeing, a growing community for vegan Christians and spiritual people. The Golden Rule and Great Commandment to love are the lenses she uses to guide her life and work. As a counselor, Dina also helps clients to discover their own wisdom and answers. She employs her unique skills to help those she works with heal and thrive, and not only cope with the symptoms. As an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ and the pastor of a small country church in northern Illinois, Dina's approach to in her life and work encompasses spirituality and psychology. Dina lives in northern Illinois with her husband Brad, their son James, and Hermione, Meinie, their precious little baby pooch.
You little pooch.
So, uh, welcome, Dina, and welcome everyone watching. Please give StreamYard permission to use your name and hit subscribe if you're watching us, please, and hit like. So, welcome, Dina. I'm so excited to have you here. It's been a long time. Just kidding.
Since yesterday. Oh, I'm so honored to be here and to be speaking with you, Marakita, and this beautiful community of all creatures and everybody who's watching now or maybe later. And so it's a big honor. And this is a group, too, that is really near and dear to my heart because there's the psychology and the spirituality connection and the animals and veganism. And so I'm really glad to be here.
Well, we're very excited to have you here, and you're one of my best friends. So I was
Mhm.
we've known each other for a couple years now, and I
Yeah.
love your journey and how you're bringing all of your gifts together to help vegans that are struggling, and there's so many
Yeah.
of us struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, I just
So,
love you too. And I'm so glad that we met. And it's just been such a blessing. And here we are today. So definitely this, looking at the joys and struggles of being vegan, and some things aren't expected, you know, in that
you're right.
journey.
And I love having you as the standing here with us as the voice of compassion, and I can't wait to
Hmm.
hear tell your story. So, tell us, when did you become vegan, and what led you to make the transition?
Well, it's hard to pinpoint. I'm not one of the kind of people that just became vegan overnight, like you say, this is the date. But I know it happened after I began leading my church. So God has a sense of humor because my church is a rural country church full of farmers and animal agriculture people that are really great people, wonderful people there. And so one day I just realized this was happening, and I, admitted to everyone. It kind of a confession. Oh, I'm pastor. There's my sister. There's Lynn. She's a chef and okay, a chef and vegan supporter. Anyway, so I kind of was like, it was a confession at the pulpit. I'm vegan, and my church has been really supportive. They are curious and supportive of my journey. So So that was probably back. I started at church in 2011. Best I can tell, it was about 2013, somewhere 11 to 13, somewhere I started to really embrace the vegan lifestyle. And it was just a growing awareness. And a friend of mine introduced me to Colleen Patrick Goudreau and different vegan people, and I just made the connection because, like a lot of people, I've always loved animals, but I never made that connection. I really compartmentalized like a lot of people do.
Right. So there was no one video or anything. Was there anything, nothing that you read?
Not really. Probably like the Colleen Patrick Goudreau's her video, her podcast, and she's
Hmm.
the only cookbook. Her baking cookbook is the only one I read cover to cover, like a book, you know. Um, but it was, forks over knives, definitely. I had been introduced to the CHIP program, the Coronary Health Improvement Program, like 20 years before, something like that, with Hans Deal. Um, and so kind of came in on more of the health reasons, and then the animal reasons came in, and then the earth reasons, and all the reasons. But I'm like a lot of people, like when I was little, well, and I was going to call the talk today from poodles to pastor, and because it all started with poodles. My grandmother had three, my aunt had a poodle, Nina, Joe, Sam, and Shaggy, and they Shaggy Lynn, my sister, was named after my sister, and Nina was named after me, and they were Joe was a medium-sized poodle. She came first, and then the little toy poodles, and then Sam was a little medium-sized gray poodle. And I just learned to love animals through them. Like we took them out with us to get stuff to eat or ice cream before I was vegan, um, and then one day Nina, the little white poodle who was named after me, had a bad fur cut. And she went to the groomer and she looked kind of silly. And so we were laughing at her. Sorry, Nina. And so I didn't realize she ran under the couch hiding. And I realized, ooh, she feels like embarrassed. So I realized like animals have feelings. And so I also one time looking at her, just thinking, or maybe it was that time, I feel like I've talked to you fully, even though we've never used words. Like there was just an emotional connection I had early on. But it took, I mean, I was little, well, maybe like 10-ish when that all happened. But I started with the poodles. But I've always been, like in high school, I didn't do the frog stuff or whatever, like all through my life, but I never really put it all together till pretty recently. So I can
Well,
understand why people struggle with that.
definitely, definitely, yes. And we'll dedicate this episode to the poodles.
Yeah, the poodles, yes.
Yes. Well, that's very interesting. And as children, we're very loving, and we're just taught so
Yeah.
differently. So, but that's amazing
Mm-hmm.
that you're able to put it together. So,
Mm-hmm.
when you first became vegan, did you have supports within your family or friendships, or did you find yourself isolated? And how is that then compared to now?
I think when I first started, I had some support for sure. Like my mom had been through the CHIP program, and my husband and I, um, my church was supportive. Like they were never not supportive. They were always, it's just kind of a foreign concept to them, I think, at first. And so, but saying that, I also felt isolated too, especially in my faith community, because I thought that everybody would just, it'd be an easy sell. We'll say, let's go vegan so we can be compassionate to the animals, considering we follow Jesus, who's the major compassion teacher. And I was surprised naively surprised that they didn't go along with that. And also, not only that, the leadership and the denomination. And not only that they didn't go along, but they'd fight back on it, or they would make fun of me. Or, although not totally, like I had a mentor that she arranged for like a whole vegan meal for one of our meetings, our big like meeting conferences. And then also when I was ordained, I said, I need to have a vegan meal. So they rise to the occasion. But there was a real like isolation feeling. And I looked around like, where are some vegan churches and some vegan pastors? And I couldn't find them anywhere. So that's kind of where the well-being came in, because I'm creating what I wanted then, because I figure other people are struggling too, especially when it comes to your faith, because it just would be a natural being vegans, and not only Christians, but also, Buddhists and Hindu, and there's very few Christian leaders, I think they're growing, that are vegan too. So like Thich Nhat Hanh was vegan, and he is in spirit. And so that's where I'm coming from, because I have a background in ministry and psychology. So they go together, like the psychology being vegan and
Yep.
the spirituality of it.
And we need as many vegan spiritual leaders and reverends and pastors as we can get, because
Mm-hmm.
there's so many vegans out there that are struggling.
Yeah.
So many, they are really not understanding how could a greater higher power, a God, how could a being allow this? And so to have you as a voice of compassion to help them with well-being, and to have all-creatures.org to be able to help them also is just so important.
And it's a big issue in families, and I like to be able to help people not have cutoffs. They're not my favorite things. Like, I mean, I think sometimes people they do cut off families and friends and things, but if we can maintain our relationships in a healthy way, because frankly, I wouldn't have any, I mean, most people in my life aren't vegan. So to be able to, like we just talked about, holidays and getting along with people, if we can maintain our relationship, even though it's a struggle a bit because of the veganism, but I'd like to try to avoid that, where people cut off and just stop talking, just over the veganism issue, because then you're losing out on valuable friends and family, and you're also losing more of your chance to maybe influence people, plant seeds. And I remember back, I had the poodles and I was still eating meat, and I didn't know about veganism. And also, my first job, I remind myself, was at Kentucky Fried Chicken when I was a teenager. And I didn't think of it at all. I mean, I didn't. Kind of surprises me now. I mean, we just never thought of the chickens as chickens or animals. And so I know that I was compartmentalized. Oh, you would have asked me, are you an animal lover? I would have said, yeah, yes. And yet I was the job I was doing.
Right.
I was in the front, though. I wasn't a cook.
Right. Yes, it's we're just blind to it. It's right in front of us, and we're blind. But I love what you said the other day about now you're able to have compassion for others.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Because the compassion kind of be, sometimes it's super hard to have compassion for others. And I think, I think that I wonder, like, veganism seems to have like a developmental stage. Like, I was a lot more angry at first and confrontative with people. And now it's more, I can see maybe, I'm just more patient with people. And so to have compassion for everyone. So like, it's not much of a vegan if we say we're compassionate to the animals and the only people we agree with, versus being compassionate toward others. And Jesus is a, Christian. He said to love our enemies. So it doesn't mean that we have to pal up or whatever, but it's loving others no matter. He didn't make any exceptions to that. So, and that's regarding, and that's hard. It's hard to do. Being Christian has some challenges like that. So, but he'd say have compassion for those people that are different from us psychologically. You mean we need to be careful and protect ourselves from toxic situations, although we're called to be compassionate to everyone, and you never know. Like the thing is, the angry and the confronting, it just isn't going to. It doesn't really help the animals. So,
And
mhm,
I was just
because
going to say, as a psychologist, what do you think that does to people?
it shames them, it shuts them down. They're going to be less likely to be vegan at some point. You got to leave room for people to come back gracefully, to change their minds, like, or have their minds opened. And so, it pains me to see that when the vegan community, being unkind to one another, even vegan to vegan. So I think you don't want to shame anyone listening, or you or I, have we ever changed because we've been shamed? That doesn't really, make us feel like changing. It makes us feel like getting away from that person and just blocking out everything. So, um, and I also recommend, I know I talk a lot about this, The Pleasure Trap by Doug Lisle. The
I got
Pleasure
it right here.
Trap. You have it right there. It's such a good book because he talks a lot about the psychology, like how to handle situations, how to handle people who are, you know, I made this special for you, and you want to maintain your health and veganism and what to say. And he basically says the less we really tout it, and, especially if there's people that don't, people, if they're interested, yeah, but if they're not, you detect they're just trying to fight. It's just best to kind of be vague and not take up that. So he has a lot of great pointers about how to handle those situations, so we can maintain our veganism and also getting into plant-based, our health and in veganism or plant-based. And I recently heard Dr. Clapper say that, nobody but you or whoever, us, if we don't follow, is going to be sitting in that hospital bed or dealing with the medical issues or feeling the guilt or whatever, but us, even though other people might be trying to influence us. So anyway, I think, yeah, he's got some great, it's really, Doug Lisle's work is grounded in psychology, deep psychology within us and the ways we interact with each other, and social statuses, like, when we say, being vegan, to a lot of people, we're the vegan in the room, and by saying that, sometimes it feels like a one up, so he said people will want to maintain that. And so to just, it's a lot of good psychology to use, and just being, it's compassionate. It's not easy, and we don't always do what we want to do, and we make mistakes. We just got to get up and keep going.
Exactly. You exactly right. Just keep moving forward and knowing that everyone's doing their best, and they
Right.
might hurt us, and they just might, we might hurt them. And so we just
Right.
do our best.
Right.
Well, how does the peace of not eating creatures manifest in your life today?
A lot of ways. Like if I drive by a bunch of cows, I just want to hug them, and I have a clear conscience, and I can just enjoy them. Although I feel bad for them though too, because if they're on a farm, just feeling more peaceful, that I'm not harming anybody. Um, that gives me peace and bringing more peace, and my piece of peace for everyone joining their peace together, can create a big change. And so, yeah, just more peace of mind. I feel better. I have more energy. And I was surprised. I was at Disney World last week with my husband, and I was like, gosh, we have so much energy. We did 4 parks in one day. And other than, my feet got, they got blisters, but I'm like, I feel so energized. So physically, I feel a lot better. And just, standing up for what I believe in feels good.
It does, and you're making a difference for our planet.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yay.
Yay is right. All right. Well, so what would you say is your most memorable experience of your vegan lifestyle so far?
Oh, it's hard to choose. I have a few. I think my ordination, when I had my church came really, they really rose to the occasion and had a completely, it was all vegan meatloaf and potatoes as a dinner. And even one of our younger girls, she brought in her little animals, like her little toy animals, and put them all over the table. And just staying, because I kind of waited to, um, because I knew I'd have a little bit of a tussle on my hands, and I did. For my ordination paper was vegan, so vegan oriented. So the people who are on the church and ministry committee weren't ready. I don't think they were expecting that. So there was a lot of tussling and took some time. And but finally, I didn't know the head of the Cattlemen's Association was on the committee. But once the time came to approve my paper and for me for ordination, he wanted to be the first to sign it. So that was pretty cool. That whole thing, and just that braving the wilderness, the idea like Brene Brown talks about, or that quote by, I think it's Teddy Roosevelt, the one who stands in the, in the arena, willing to stand up for myself and others. And probably recently, I've been doing a lot of vegan travel, and I have loved that, to get to hear from people who are very, the leaders and the people who started all this, was just a thrill beyond words. I never got to see John McDougall, but I want to mention my condolences there. That was very sad. So I've seen, and probably my big thrill lately, and this shirt on, is the travel I've done, and I've discovered the Plant Strong community, which is awesome. The Esselsteins, and I've been doing as much as I can with them and the speakers they bring in, and it's really a chance they're very, very friendly, and to learn directly from them. And Dr. Clapper and Doug Lyle's been there. Doug Lyle, any of these people you could get on YouTube too. And so that's been a really great thing, and I love it. And you go to the retreats that they have, and you're just 100%, they show you how to do not only vegan, but the plant-based whole foods SOS, which is no added salt, sugar, or oil, maybe a little salt. They're kind of, anyway. And so when I'm done with one of those, just glowing from inside, and I'm like, oh, I can bring this home. It shows me how to do it. And it's just not only the people who are speaking, but the friends I've made there, the people that are there. It's so much fun. And I just kind of happened on one last fall in Sedona. I went there, and so I really love that community, and all of them too. And Akita too. I'm so glad we got connected, and these wonderful friends.
I'm glad too. Tell us, you have a special little helper at your church also, and I think yes. Could you tell us about your little helper?
Yeah, my little helper is about 10 pounds, little black and white fur, cutest little face. She's got I think it's on this side, a heart, and on the one side of her face, around her eyes, and her name is Queenie. And Queenie is I don't care if she's a therapy dog. She could be just every dog's a therapy dog. She's a therapy dog. She's trained in first responder. She's a police chaplain dog with her mom, Susie, and they've been at our church a couple of years now, and just has brought joy beyond belief. Queenie I love her. Don't tell anyone. She's my favorite at my church. I'm not supposed to have favorites. And she knows, like, the person who needs a little hug or needs a little Queenie time. She's a kid magnet. She's an adult magnet. And you just fall in love with her the minute you see her. And I couldn't be more happy. The first time she came in, I was like, whoa, yay. Yeah, it's super exciting.
That is very exciting.
Thanks for mentioning Queenie. Yeah.
Queenie's a star, so yes.
Yes, she is a star. She's so beautiful. Beautiful inside and out.
Yes, and with her little heart on her face. How precious. So everyone that's watching, please let us, get your questions ready. If you have any at the end, we're going to be taking questions. So I wanted to ask you, there's a lot of vegans struggling right now and not able, when you first become vegan, it really hurts. And some people still struggle in the same way. What would you tell a new vegan who is isolated or struggling? What advice would you give to encourage
I,
them?
I would have them join the WellBeing would be one. And also the Vistopia group on Facebook is really helpful. I would encourage them to take good care of themselves and to find community, whether it's online or in person. Another thing, when I was early on, we had a vegan meetup group, and we would get together and do different meals and events. Like we painted glasses one time and stuff like that. So just find community, take care of yourself, protect yourself, be careful, like maybe with the images you see, because oh boy, that happens to me now. If I see something, it just can't, I mean, yeah. So mostly taking care of yourself and finding like-minded people and educate as much as possible. Read the Pleasure Trap. Um, and, find a community. There's so many out there, to join. And of course, like the Plant Strong community, they've got Facebook groups and helpful, how to do it, like making food and that kind of thing. Of course, like Colleen Patrick Goudreau, her podcasts. Um, Carol Saunders too. She's awesome, and she has a wonderful Unity retreat in Missouri in October. So just embrace the joy of it and take good care of yourself too. And try not to get discouraged if you need to take some time to regroup.
Exactly right. Yes. I mean, it's normal to be discouraged. It's normal to be sad, and
Yeah, of course.
so
Yeah.
yeah, just to allow those feelings.
Right. Right.
And hopefully you'll have a little dog like Queenie that can give you also
Yeah. Queenie.
compassion.
Yeah. Find a queenie. That's what you do. Find queenies. Go, the thing, go to farm sanctuary, animal sanctuaries. Check out Esther the Wonder Pigs page. Go hug a cow if they allow you, if they're okay with consent. Just be out with the animals too in nature, and rescue a dog or a cat or both. Just do
Right,
something too. Don't get overwhelmed. Like Colleen says, Patrick Gaudreau says, just because we can't do everything doesn't mean we should do nothing. We do something, and then all that adds up between all of us.
right. It all adds up. You're right. We all make a difference, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to do everything, but we can do something. Right. There's a lot of groups to join out there, depending on where what you want to focus on. There's always things to learn, like you're saying, like
Right.
because when you're vegan and then you want to go whole food plant based, and when you're able
Yeah.
to understand the addiction of food, like Doug Lyle is talking about the pleasure trap, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how you're able to. You're saying that you're able to be compassionate to
Yeah.
people because you understand why they're going through this.
When as a pastor, I need to mention prayer for all of this. Whether you're struggling, when you're new vegans, praying for the animals, all that. Pray, pray, pray. It's powerful to pray. Pray for your own healing. Pray for the healing of the world, of the animals. Anytime you need to stay in good contact with God. Sometimes I need to be reminded to pray. I'm a pastor, so that we're not on our own, the angels and all the unseen world to help us.
Right,
Because we've been
exactly.
recruited by them to make a change in the world. That's part of the kingdom or the reign of God is that going back to like when Eden was vegan first. That's how it is in Genesis, is before the fall. The world was created vegan. And it was very good.
Yes, very good.
Cooked by God. Yeah.
Yes. So the well-being. I know that sometimes you have your broadcast. You broadcast live to the well-being, and
Mm-hmm.
so tell us more about the well-being group, please.
Well, right now, the well-being, the name I thought about a long time ago. It's in process. The well-being is about all of us being well-being, all the sentient beings on Earth being well-beings, in that the Earth is a well-being, and well-being is like a noun, like well-beings, and it's also a verb, a description of who we are as being well-being. And well-being doesn't mean perfect. Well-being means that we're doing that we're well. And that can be many things, even if we're maybe having a hard time. And so that's where the name has got lots of facets to it. The well-being does. And then and the in it is little t because it's got so many different meanings in it. And so I've thought about, what does it mean to be well-being, to be a well-being, even if we're struggling, we may be grieving, we're always struggling with something, you know, pretty much, pretty much. And so how to be a well-being no matter what. It's like we talked about holidays, how to have holiday magic no matter what. You want to be able to, um, the well-being can help the earth too. So I'm just developing it right now. They've got a Facebook group called the WellBeing. It's private, so if you can't find it, text, message me or Marakita. And right now, the Facebook, the website's underway, and I'm going to start, and I'm going to offer counseling because I'm a counselor too. Individual, group counseling, webinars. Marakita and I have done some things on the challenging holidays, the parts that are challenging. I've even thought about, I love Disney too recently. Like if anybody would meet me in Disney and we'll do counseling down there and walk around the parks. And that's something that's been kind of like came on in my mind last week. But mostly counseling and a community, like a safe community. We can share our faith and we can share our veganism without, boldly. And I'm more like targeting more progressive Christians that are more liberal, more spiritual. Like we're not conservative. So there's a open embrace there. And just it's underway and I'm interested. I just put a poll up and to see what people are looking for. And just a place to be like I was looking for that feels like, it's like how you feel. I could feel like when I go to my church and I hope people that go there, just kind of feel a sigh of relief, that you found these people and place.
Right. And when you say safe, a safe place, what do you mean exactly by safe place?
I think that's a little tricky word though. I don't know sometimes if we ever really safe, as much as we can be, but maybe like a peaceful space of accepting space, a space that you can say, hey, I'm vegan and I'm Christian, or, and talk about that, our faith in light of veganism or veganism in light of faith. And so I strive for the safety and the trust between us, and monitoring what we put on, what goes on the page and things like that. So, we still need to be careful and watch out for ourselves. And I don't know if it's everything, as far as safeties, maybe it's more of a peaceful place, striving to be peaceful and accepting.
So would it be if you're not, let's say if you're Jewish, could you join that? Or if you're
Mm-hmm.
Hindu, is it okay to join?
Yeah, you could join if you're Jewish or even if you're not vegan. I always call people who aren't vegan pre-vegan, and we have I have friends on there too and family. So and other people that may be considering veganism or in other religions. It's not heavily heavy-handed with that with the traditional Christian terminology. And I look at Jesus more. He's teaching us about love, how to love. He said that's the most important thing is loving God and loving others, including, I say, other sentient beings as we love ourselves. And so,
Right.
yeah. And I
I
think
love
that's,
that.
hmm?
Oh, I love the way that your group is
Yeah,
very accepting of all. That's
yeah.
what Jesus did.
Yes, he did. And, any of the main world religions are the same at their core.
Right.
You're talking
Exactly.
about, yeah, that love is at the core and service. So, I'm looking at like, how can I serve our community? What can I do to help? What do people need? That's what I'm trying to figure out now. I mean, I know what I needed and what I'd love to share, but I'm curious about what people need, what they need and want. So, to be able to
Right.
serve them.
Yes, and that's so important to have that safe space, and you're accepting of all. Come
Mhm.
in. You don't have to be a vegan. You can be vegan curious, and
Yeah,
we're here for you. And that is
right,
just very important to
right.
have.
Absolutely.
So what with the people in your church? Then has anyone gone vegan in your church?
No, and that's frustrating to me. There's still, but they'll bring vegan things in for me, or they'll eat them too. But no, and I wish the slow change is kind of frustrating. So they're definitely more aware. They're very steeped in tradition, a little bit resistant to that change. But I'm not giving up. I've got some ideas about having some. Recently met Dr. Stoley. He's got a book called Thrive, and it's based in scripture and health, and our body's a temple. And I think that Nelson Campbell, who's the son of T. Colin Campbell, has got something going on too. So I'm thinking I'm just going to offer it, and just see who wants to come, and maybe offer to other churches in the area too, and the WellBeing.
Right.
So yeah, they haven't, but they're definitely have their eyes open. And I'd love to do more cooking, bringing food, because I mean, if the food is good, people will eat it.
Oh yeah,
You know, the
tell us
food.
about that. Tell us about the what you were doing with Shannon.
Well, I'd like to just bring more food. It's just hard for me sometimes on Sundays because I'm busy with getting ready for the service, but I really want to carve out time to bring in healthy, delicious, vegan food for my church. Because, like I said, if if it's good, they're going to eat it. And so I just haven't done that so much, but I'd like to do it coming
Right.
up.
Well, you're doing a lot. I mean, you're doing
Mm-hmm.
a very lot. I mean, being the example, just like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
right.
Yeah.
I wanted you to see. I mean, tell us about that chef challenge.
Oh, we had a chef challenge through Vegan Outreach, Austin Simmons, and it was phenomenal. Phenomenal. So that was in February. Next year we're going to do it in March. If you get a chance in your town to do it, do it. It was great. There were like 17 restaurants and food trucks that participated, and some maybe made one extra something on their menus. Another one made like a whole menu. I mean, tons of things that are vegan. And so my friend Amy Vickers, she's one of the food trucks, the crepe, a vegan crepe truck. She and I, we decided, she's a good friend that she bought our house about 2 years ago, and we became friends. And so we decided we were going to challenge ourselves to eat at every food truck and restaurant, every single entree, and we did. So it was so much fun. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It was so good. And then she ended up winning, I think, second place for her crepes, and it was just a great community. And it was people who were vegan and who weren't vegan, and getting these restaurants to offer. They could see like it helped their business. I mean, that's the bottom line there. And so it was just a lot of fun, and I made new connections and just delicious food. All kinds of food, was from Greek to Thai food and everything in between. So it was great.
Yeah, yeah, that's very inspiring. And how would somebody go about doing this?
Well, probably you could reach out to me if I can connect you. But Vegan Outreach is the group that did that, and Austin Simmons is his name, who was the leader. So you can look directly, or you can ask me, and I'm happy to connect you. So
Wonderful. Yeah,
yeah,
I was very
wonderful.
inspired by your
Mhm.
dedication to that project and everything you do.
Yeah, and I
Everything you
miss it. You saw that my post, and I posted about it too. So it was fun. And I just
Yeah,
got to know Amy really well. The two of us, so people would join us because we listed all of we made a schedule. So, and then we put it on the Facebook. And so people could join us if they wanted to hop in on one of the ones that we were doing. And so that was cool too, because we met other people through it too. So it was really nice. It's fun. But
yeah, that is very fun.
yeah.
Well, I know you do a lot. You're very, very busy um, with your church, and then with all the vegan and the well-being and your activism. So definitely. I encourage everyone to go to the WellBeing on Facebook.
Hmm.
So, and also if you're watching, if you have any questions, we'd love to hear them. I do have a question for you.
Hmm.
Um, so, I have been invited to, I'm not going to say exactly, but let's just say something like a barbecue cookout, you
Okay.
know, with a new friend. And I would love to go with her. She's very lovely, and she doesn't really know much about me, that I'm vegan, right? I mean, just the
Yeah.
tiny smidgen that I'm vegan.
Yeah.
So I just don't know if I should even go, or what am I going to eat, or what should I do. And I feel like, oh my gosh, what if they post pictures of me at this barbecue cookout? What would
Hmm.
what are your thoughts on that?
About your new
Me
friend who's
attending,
not vegan and go down
me
to dinner with
attending,
her or
well,
posting on.
just going to this big old barbecue thing,
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna have this big roast, and for a vegan, it's like, oh, you don't want to hear those words, right?
Yeah. I
And then
think,
it's
go
hard
ahead.
because do I want to be attached to that? I don't want pictures of myself there,
Yeah.
And if I win, it would be in the educational. I'm
Yeah.
vegan,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
I guess, we can always hide comments too, like not be like out of, I think there's a way to just hide it so it doesn't show up on your feed, on your wall. I would do that if you're something you don't want on there, not like blocking or anything like that, but just probably let's tuck it away, something. Um,
But would you go?
oh,
Would you
would I go?
say, yeah? I
I
mean,
probably would go. I'm I'm invited this 4th of July, and I'm bringing the vegan brats, but there'll be meat there too. There will be meat, but I'll go. I'll go just
right.
because. And then, and if somebody posts something, you could also put something. Oh, I just loved my vegan brats. They were so delicious, and it's like like that kind of thing. But I probably would. Now, I had a friend who I met through the vegan challenge. She invited us. We were kind of Easter, didn't have any plans, and she invited us. It was all vegan.
Oh
It was
wow.
so much fun. It was so nice. So she's vegan, and everybody was there was vegan. I mean, I think a couple people weren't yet. Hope we didn't scare them away. But when then she had like games and prizes, and it was just nice. It is nice to have that, to be able um, to go to something vegan. But I wouldn't not go because there's meat, or say a prayer over the meat or something, or it's hard though. I get that. That's part of the problem with we talked about like at the um, during the holidays, especially 4th of July. You know.
Yeah, it is. It's very hard because I really like this person, and I know that she's not doing this on purpose, and I
Right.
know that the people there aren't doing this on purpose. That's the way they were raised, and
She's
so,
unaware. Yeah, they're unaware.
right, they're unaware. They're joyfully eating without connecting, right? And here I am, like, well, okay, I'm connecting everything. So
I
yeah, and
know.
also you don't want to. I don't want to be the like, oh, look at her,
Yeah.
or I don't want to be. I don't want to come across as a judgmental person, and I think that's what
Right.
Dr.
Yeah.
Doug Lyle talks about in the pleasure trap.
Right. Right. And yeah, just remembering I went to barbecues before and ate too at some point in my life. To remember that and to um to just do your thing and do it proudly and embrace what you're doing. And um, if you've got a new friend, you really could teach her a lot. I mean, some people that just don't know what it is. They don't even know the first thing about being vegan at all. So some learning curve there, you know.
Yeah, there's a big learning curve
Yeah.
there, right, to acknowledge that. So
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that you have learned along your journey, and that's how you're able to have compassion to others by
Yeah.
understanding the addictions of food.
And I love learning from other people too. It's a two-way street with everybody. It's not like I have the answers or I learn. I'm open to changing my mind or learning new things, and we're all in this together. So
Right, and what you're saying is so important. That's why I think there's no idea that the idea of a perfect vegan. I mean, to let that go. Like, I
Right.
see a lot of this. I'm more vegan, or this person's not
Right.
really vegan, or not vegan
Right.
enough.
Yeah, let go of perfectionism. If we slip up or something, or see someone else's, just again in the Christian faith, like forgiveness is everything too. Love and forgiveness for ourselves too, and for others. Just
I love that when Jesus says about casting the stone.
yeah, right. Also, the log in your, you know, in someone's eye, whatever, in your own eyes. Yeah, yeah, or the casting stones, or whoever hasn't sinned. So we're all in it together and learning.
Right. We all are all in it together, and we have to be kind to each other. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
in order to change the world, vegans have to unite. And so that's really what's beautiful about the well-being, open to all, and it's a safe
Right.
place that you're gonna make sure to maintain the safety of the group, that
Right.
everyone will be respected and everyone will be spoken to kindly, whether they're vegan or not.
Well, then we're representing being vegan. Some people maybe never met a vegan before, so maybe they have, but we're representing that. And it's not going to help the animals if we give bad representation or something people feel like they don't want anything to do with. So
You're
just
right.
being aware of that, as we go about life, wherever we are, in the
Right. I mean,
grocery store, or,
change.
yeah,
Go ahead.
at a barbecue, like going there to a barbecue, just taking care of ourselves too, and being open and loving.
Right. And I love what you said about praying over the food or praying for the animal.
Mhm. Yeah,
And that's very important. Even
yeah,
the Native Americans were very respectful, and they lived during a time when, well, they didn't, of course, they didn't have fast food or any of that, right? It was a whole
right,
different culture, but it was based on respect.
right, right. And I mean, vegans see meat differently than other people. We see the animal there, and that's what's hard, even like in that situation, or like in the grocery store, things like that.
Right. Yeah, in the grocery store, that can be very hard. I think, but with your psychology, with your background, knowing how people can turn on and off to, I mean, we have to be able to do that to survive in this world. We can't
Absolutely.
just walk around just like being vulnerable all the time.
Right. It's probably a survival skill, somewhere along the line that our ancestors employed in order to live and survive, and that we're even sitting here. That they probably did compartmentalization. I was even reading, just Dr. Greger had something today about for polar bears and living in a jungle, like you know, food was scarce before, and so we're kind of programmed to eat more you know, when there's food abundant, and it's kind of that's why it's hard to change things, because our mindset, we're going to go for the higher fat foods because of our ancestors who survived because they ate the higher fat kind of foods that are sugary, maybe salty, I don't know.
And one book that you said was really good before when I talked to you yesterday was um, David Kessler, The End of Overeating. And isn't that right, David Kessler?
Yes, that one.
Yeah. And so how he talks about the fat, sugar, and salt, but and all these books are saying
Right.
how I mean, we are meant to eat high calorie foods. So
Right.
before we throw a stone at someone who can't give up the high calorie foods that they're so addicted to, these processed animal based foods. I mean, there's a reason because
Mm-hmm.
we're meant to eat that, but these are that's what's we're being hijacked.
Yeah.
Because these aren't real. I mean, you wouldn't. These are not nutritious foods.
No. And it's being manufactured that way. I was mentioning there's a whole like government group that's working to put more cheese in everything. And then the corporations that make, the foods are looking to have the fat, salt, and sugar in there to addict us in our brains. Like, it's actually is an addictive. I think it's the same area of the brain like drugs hit too. So we got to really be educated and aware and, you know, mindful as we make
Yes,
our choices and things like that.
and that's where the compassion comes in for others, because
Hmm.
other people are
Right.
so addicted to these foods and they have no idea.
Right. And even like Dr. Greger, I'm listening to his book about how not to die. And he went through, I don't remember which one, maybe it was, he talked about how unhealthy, like even just when someone grills something and even the smoke that comes off it, he said, like there's studies done of people who live near like Chinese restaurants and things like that. It's just that's toxic too. But so that's part of why I feel for them. You know, if somebody's all like, I like my steak, and just to think to know that, you know, that's not good for them.
Oh, it's
So
so sad.
bless them.
My best friend, one of my best friends, I had a couple that passed away. Basically, um, well, one of mine died of a just overnight of a heart attack, and then
Um,
atherosclerosis, and then the other one had Crohn's disease, and she was in her 30s when she passed. But when she just loved eating steak, and she didn't know, I didn't know either, right?
mhm.
That this was killing her. She would cry, cry, cry.
Yeah.
She ate, and if we only knew, but
I mean,
you know, we,
it's not like no vegans ever get sick. I mean, that's not, they still get sick and they die. We all die. So eventually, but yeah, but it's like upping your odds of living longer. That I've heard it's more like not lifespan, but health span. Just want to live as long as you can, as healthy as possible, and then go on to the next, whatever we go to the next life.
the next journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. And so, y'all, if you have any questions, we're coming down to
Yeah.
the final
I can't
moments.
see the comment. Are there any comments or questions?
I don't see any questions. No, yeah, but I see that people are watching us and
We'll
they're
get
like,
some later.
yes. So yeah, you can always contact Dina. I mean, I encourage you to go to the WellBeing and ask your questions in there also.
Yeah.
So, so yes. Well, you really bring a lot to the plate here with your background and your compassion and your love for animals, and really fighting for Queenie in the church and making sure Queenie, the little dog,
Queenie.
making sure Queenie's very respected and very well
Yeah.
loved. So, I mean, I think there's always going to be in life conflict. So how can we
Right.
how can we stand up for ourselves
Right.
and others? And that's what you're doing, Dina,
And
standing
standing
up
up
for
for others too. Yeah. Yeah. And let them stand for us.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. Was it Reverend Alan Bosnick or Bosser? And he said something like, "When you go on the day of judgment, let it not be said there was nothing worth. Will I say to you, was there nothing worth fighting for?" Now
Um,
I missed
mhm.
the quote, but when you stand
Yeah.
before God,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
will God say to you, was there nothing
Mhm.
worth fighting? Where are your scars? Was there nothing worth fighting for?
Right.
I love that quote that I butchered, but that's the gist of it. So,
Yeah. Stars tell
right?
story. Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely.
yeah, and I see that you walk with a band of angels protecting you and guiding you, right? I mean, that
Yeah.
the angels are your armor, compassion is your armor.
Yeah. For all of us to have those angels around us. And there's a whole unseen world, I believe, that is more vast even than maybe what we see. And are being reminded to call on our spiritual helpers, call on the angels, pray, you know, bring in the spiritual aspect of life. I mean, earth is awesome too. The earthy being in the body, all that is great. It's just, yeah, doing both together, being aware.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, I'll call on it. Yeah.
Well, Dina, did you have any final thoughts?
Oh no, I just I'm thankful to have this time to chat, and anybody who's listening, thank you for that, and just blessings to you, Marakita. Blessings to all of you wherever you are on your vegan journey, and just don't say goodbye. Say see you next time.
Right, right. See you next time. And definitely go to the WellBeing
Hmm.
Facebook group. And Dina, would you like to say a prayer?
Sure, I
And
would.
then let me, I'll go ahead with the, well, let me go ahead and just let people know
Okay.
where, if you're watching, to make sure to go to www.allcreek.org to check out the hundreds of thousands of pages of free resources updated daily, 7 days a week without break, or sign up for our weekly newsletter. Please be sure to search vegan churches on our site to find vegan faith-based resources near you.
Yeah, I'm
And
on there
so,
too.
if you have a resource that's not on our list, please reach out to our executive director, Tams, at
Hmm.
all-creatures.org.
Right.
So, now I would love to allow you to close us with a prayer.
Okay. Let's pray. Let's take a breath. Breathe in joy and blessing and breathe out any stress that we have. Dear Creator of all of us, of all the earth and all Earth's creatures, and each of us who's bent on love and compassion, whose Son is Jesus, we just thank you for this time together. And I pray a special blessing upon all creatures and Tams and Marakita and everyone who's connected with them, every vegan and pre-vegan. And we just thank you for this time, mostly just thankful, thankful, thankful. And we thank you for this beautiful world, beautiful creatures. And we just pray you direct us on how you would like us to help to bring more peace and love and compassion to the world, to do our part. In the Prince of Peace's name, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless. Till next time. All right.
Yes. Till
All right.
next.
All
All
right.
right. Bye
Nice.
bye, everybody. Bye,
Bye.
y'all. Thank you very much
Take
for
care.
joining.
Happy 4th of July, too.
Yes. Happy 4th of July.